Good morning, lovely people. It's coming up for 9 a.m. I have to be at work for 10, so I like to be ready 45 minutes before. You just never know what the traffic is going to be like, especially around rush hour. Hopefully rush hour will be over by 9:15. Who knows? I looked out this morning, the garden, as one does, and noticed that our ginkgo tree was absolutely destroyed. It was only a few feet tall, and every year the deer seemed to like chewing the leaves off it. I had tried to construct a little bamboo and yarn barrier for it, but obviously we should have gone for something a lot more sturdy because it's completely wrecked now. I think probably what happened is a deer just ran through it. Maybe a deer tried to get to it with its antlers and the antlers just ripped the whole yarn thing apart. I don't know. Ironically, I saw a deer in the yard this morning and I did get a little bit of film of her. And I'm silently admonishing her because it's like, were you the one who was responsible for wrecking my tree? Oh, well, I think we're just going to have to give up on that tree now because, yeah, it was a total failure and it wasn't cheap to buy either, which is irritating. My arm is getting super tired here. So, just making a cup of tea in a thermal cup. Good old Yorkshire tea. By the time I have my break, probably around midday, it should be just about the right temperature to drink. This sad sight is what's left of our ginkgo tree. There is just a little stick about a foot tall, and beyond that, the bamboos and yarn that I had tried to create a barrier with to deter the deer. Obviously, it didn't work. Look what I found. It's one of those little free libraries that people have at the bottom of their driveways. I picked a book out to travel with, so hope it's halfway decent, so I've got something to read when I'm travelling. Just a little bit damaged at the back. Hopefully all the pages are there. It's cloudy and getting dark. We're doubly pissed off at the deer today. Not only did they wreck our ginkgo tree, and Mr. Stitches had to kind of rig up a new teepee of bamboos and hope that we can salvage something of that tree. But then we noticed that one of our new lilac trees had been got at, and the burlap that I had wrapped around the trunk to stop the bark being stripped off it had been ripped away, and more bark had been stripped off. So I think we're going to have to go to more drastic measures of chicken wire, which they can at least not chew through, and hopefully we can rig it up in such a way that they can't rip it off. So it's probably a good idea if we do that before we go on holiday. Looks like it's going to rain, but it hasn't yet. But if I show you how dark that sky is behind me, it looks darker in person. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit wet before we get home. This is going to be a really short video. I'll have a little bit of knitting to show you later. Just before I went to work, I did a couple more rows on the hood to do the decreasing rows, and I started the 3 needle bind off, and I realised I wasn't actually binding off, was I? I was just knitting the back stitch and the front stitch together and then working my way across the row. So I had to abandon it so I could go to work. Honestly, I was kicking myself. I could have had it done before I went. Oh well. I'll fix that later, show you what it looks like. This house has really cool orange lights. Makes it look like a haunted house. The toddler hoodie is almost done. Could probably take that out now. That was just showing where my right side was. So here you can see the reason why I went back and unraveled a few rows. I picked up along here for the hood, and the first time I picked up I was 2 stitches short, and I did a couple of ridges, and I went back and looked, and there was a bulge here. And so I ripped it out, redid it, and look how smooth that is. You can't even tell where I picked up. So nice. So there's the hood finished. They said to do the 3 needle bind off on the outside by putting the wrong sides together. And I'm assuming that so that there's a good place for picking up stitches for the spines or scales. That's what the inside of my 3 needle bind off looks like. So what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to study the next step, because it's a little complicated. Because what you have to do is you have to count the ridges that you have. You count these stitches, you count these ridges all the way down the back to the bottom hem. And then you decide how big your spines are going to be. I'll probably just go with the smallest size. So she gives you, I say she, the designer may not be a she. They give you 14 stitch ones, I think, 16 and 18, something like that. So I'm going to be using 2 strands of the yarn. I have this much yarn left, which will hopefully be enough to finish this. And I will have to pick up along here with the double-stranded yarn and knit a little scale here. So I'm going to have to go look at the pattern, do a teeny bit of math, and then go from there. I knitted the first spine, and it was a pain in the you-know-what. I think I was swearing for a lot of it. They say to use double pointers. I picked up stitches on this side with 1 needle and that side with the other needle, and then knitted with a 3rd, and oh my goodness, that was tough. Doesn't help that you're using a double strand of yarn, so it's thicker, and you're SSKing and then K2 togging, and then you're going along the other side and doing the same on the other side, and it was a pain. So I'm going to consider this spine as the practice, and I'm going to take these needles out. This one just volunteered itself. I'm going to take both of these needles out. I'm going to unravel it because it's messy, with a couple of bumps where there shouldn't be bumps. And I feel like I can do a better job of it with my circs that I used to knit the main part of the hoodie. And it should be easier on my hands. You can see that these are going to stand up well though, because they're double. They're going to be very sturdy little things. So yeah, this is going to come out. Not 100% happy with it. All my knitting at the top there is all pulled out of shape, but It should make it easier for me to pick up those loops again, because they're all loosey now. Loosey-goosey. Well, not a particularly eventful day, and not a particularly productive one either. I worked for 4 hours today and I learnt something new. Well, I learnt a few new things actually, but one of the things I learnt was how to pick online orders. So the manager gave me the instructions right at the beginning of my shift, and then I noticed that an order came in shortly after, and I thought, oh, I can do that, because it comes in on the handset that we all carry around in the shop. We can look things up, we can confirm pickups, we can go to the website and see what people are talking about when they're asking for something, we can answer the phone, and we can do the online orders. So I did one successfully, and that gave me the confidence for later on, because in the last half an hour of my shift, I picked 4 more orders and I put them in bags and got them ready for people to collect. So I was really pleased with that. So it's getting late. Oh, I'll get this up on YouTube for you guys, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.